Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the 56th episode of the Triboro Podcast. I'm your host, as always, Justin Alonso, joined on the other side of the WNHU studio by a guy who's kind of excited to start talking about the New York Metropolitans, Nicholas O'Brien.
I could not wait to record this morning. I am still speechless. I can't believe that happened. I looked on my phone when I woke up this morning, and it's all real. Everything did happen. I couldn't sleep until 4 a.m. I was staying up just watching highlights and everything. Your New York Mets are going to the National League Division Series. That's crazy.
I'm gonna quote you. What the fuck? 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 What the fuck?
I think like an octave higher.
I can do you one better.
Yeah, exactly. You got it.
Where is it? Oh, it's just this one?
What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck? What the fuck?
There you go. That sounds more accurate. But yeah, I mean, insane. Absolutely insane. What a game. This is the best Mets game since Monday. But no, I mean, real quick, the playoffs in general have been, I would say, pretty entertaining. I think the one, snooze fest was Braves-Padres, but I think the Braves are just completely shot from all the travel.
I would agree with you on that one.
But the Tigers beating the Astros, the Royals beating the Orioles, which obviously we'll talk more about in the Bronx,
And also talk about the Astros because that makes me sad, but
holy crap.
I wanted to beat them. I wanted to kick the shit out of them.
Yeah, if you got nothing else to say.
No.
Let's get into it. Let's get into Queens.
It's out of here! And the Mets win it!
This is Mets Willets Point. Transfer is available to the 7 local train.
Transfer is available to the Q48 bus to LaGuardia.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Queens, where, like I mentioned at the top of the show, the New York Metropolitans are going to the National League Division Series to face off with a division rival, the Philadelphia Phillies. But before we get into that, a very kind of quick injury update. So Kodai Senga, he threw a 25-pitch bullpen session, I believe, over the weekend. He is not ruled out for the NLDS. If he does come back, it's going to be in a very limited role, probably a opener and or bullpen, an inning or two, maybe. But yeah, so Senga is working his way back. It was always going to be a long shot to see him again this year, but with the Mets maybe pushing a deep playoff run, that can become more of a possibility. But it's just kind of hard to see whose spot he would take on this roster. I think that's the issue because he's only going to give you an inning, maybe two, because 25 pitches, that could be a long inning or 2 good innings or 3 very quick innings.
3 immaculate innings.
Yeah, exactly. So, I don't know. What's your take on that? You think they should try to find a spot for him or kind of let him
It's
build
tough
up?
because especially with the DS, I don't know what the Mets are planning on doing, but I know the Yankees, they're debating between only having 11 or 12 pitchers. So they're really going short on pitchers.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the Mets are planning on doing. So it kind of just goes how many pitchers they're planning. Because if they're planning on only bringing 11 or 12 pitchers, the Mets, I don't see how you do it.
Yeah.
If you have 12 or 13, I could see you squeaking them in there.
Yeah.
But it just depends on how many pitchers they plan on bringing.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll keep you guys updated on that. I agree. I think I'd be a little surprised if he does make the roster. As much as I'd love to see him, again, it's just tough to find him a spot right now because he's not used to being out of the bullpen. You have guys who obviously have been in the bullpen the entire year and who can give you multiple innings. So, again, it's going to be a tough spot to find for him.
And it could also just be a little bit of gamesmanship, too.
Right.
Where it's like, oh, are we going to do it? Are we not going to do it?
And then the Phillies got to start planning for him, and then he's not there.
Because you look at Senga. Senga is 1-1 with a 1.46 ERA and 2 starts against the Phillies with 12.1 innings.
Right.
So 2 starts, small sample size, but still.
Yeah. But yeah, that's all was said about Senga. The next guy, Jeff McNeil, another guy who you're not going to see unless the Mets make a deep playoff run. Definitely not going to be ready for the DS. But it was said that he will start ramping up baseball activities pretty soon. So if the Mets make it past the DS, maybe you see him in the CS. But
I think that's bigger than Senga.
McNeil, you think so?
I'm sorry if I just stole your thunder. I'm
No,
sorry, but I think
yeah.
I think he is, because you saw how much the Mets offense struggled, and McNeil was kind of just he was your second best hitter for how long, since the All-Star break?
All-Star break, yeah.
And you don't know how he's going to come back, especially with it being a wrist. You don't know if he's going to have that same flexibility, all that. But I still think you're getting I think that's more important, especially with how right-handed the Mets are.
Yeah.
You're just getting another lefty in there.
Absolutely. I mean, the one issue with McNeil is you're going to play him over Iglesias, you know?
Maybe in the outfield.
Yeah, maybe.
Platoon with Marte, maybe?
Maybe. That's honestly not a terrible idea, but you'd figure he would probably call it Acuna's roster spot, because I don't really think Acuna's going to play all that much. I mean, you saw him in the wild card series, just a defensive replacement. I don't think he ever got an at-bat.
No.
But yeah, McNeil, start ramping up soon. Definitely not going to see him for the DS, but we'll keep tabs on that to see where the rehabs go. But that's all I got for the injury report. Now, on to the wild card series with the Milwaukee Brewers. I have in my notes here, in all caps with many H's, rah. What are you going to do? I see you saying something up. Okay. So we'll go game by game. Obviously, game 3 is super fresh, but I know that's going to be a long conversation, so I want to get the other games out of the way. We'll talk about that. So game 1, the Mets win 8-4. Luis Severino, 6 innings, 8 hits, 4 runs. They actually changed a hit to an error, so he only got 3 earned runs on his ledger, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. It's a quality start. 6 innings, 3 earned runs.
And it's shocking that he was able to go that deep.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you saw he started the game off with walking the bases loaded. I think they got a single, they got a hit. Then they hit Rhys Hoskins Rhys Hoskins got hit by a pitch, brought in another run, and it was instantly 2-0. But I mean, Justin, you and I were talking about it when the game was going on. We thought, hey, do you bring him out for the 5th? Do you kind of just like 4 and done? He went out for the 5th. He had a quick 5th. I was like, all right, he's got to be done there. Out to the mound again in the 6th. A quick 6th inning. Wow. I mean, what a start for Severino, who hasn't, like we talked about it last week, hasn't had too much success in the postseason. I would say this is a very successful start, especially the way it started.
I mean, it looked like you were getting a repeat of the 2017 wildcard game where he wasn't going to make it out of the first inning. Like, when I was watching the game and I saw what was going on, I didn't think he was making it more than 2 innings, if I'm being blunt.
Yeah, he did not look good.
He looked like if you would have left him in there, he would have given up 10 runs in that first inning. Somehow he figured it. I forget how he ended up getting out of it, but
oh yeah, that first inning I forget. I want to say it was definitely a pop up, and then I forget how they recorded the last out. But still, yeah, that first inning was rough. He was wild. He was missing arm side up and away.
Those were the only runs he gave up, correct?
No, he gave up 2 more. I think in like the 4th or something. But after the 4th, he was clean.
Okay.
But yeah, so. Excellent start by Severino. Obviously, coming off that doubleheader, 6 innings from your starter was amazing. I mean, you cannot ask for more from Severino that game. He was everything you could have asked for and more. But the offense answered back quick. Jesse Winker had an 2 RBI triple. Gonna give myself a pat on the back there. Gonna break my back.
I'm also gonna. No, Dad, we're not breaking our shoulders.
That's what it was, yeah. But Jesse Winker, 2 RBI triple to even the game at 2, and then he came around on a Starling Marte sac fly to give the Mets a lead 3-2. In the 5th, the Mets had a 5-run inning, all with 2 outs, by the way. Which at the time, like in the moment, I had no idea. Yeah, exactly.
Wait.
There you go. But Iglesias started things off with a hustle infield single that Justin hated that he dove into first base. But given the play, I think, yeah, if you want to
I just
explain
want
that.
to, because for those that don't know, when you dive into first base, you lose speed. And I think the only time where it's kind of, I don't want to say acceptable, but I could see it is when the first baseman's off the bag and they try going for a swipe, like a swipe tag. That's really the only time that I think you should be doing it. But if you listen to Paul O'Neill, I hope that someone made a compilation of Paul O'Neill chewing apart guys when they go to slide, because like it's the dumbest thing on the planet. And I agree with him. You lose speed.
Yeah.
It ended up working, but in the moment, I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah. It also helped that I think it was Joel Pampas. I don't know how to pronounce
He
his last
sounds
name.
slow.
Pampas. He completely whiffed on the bag.
Yeah.
Like he didn't even step on the bag.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
He
Iglesias.
like stutter stepped, right?
Yeah. He kind of like he started stepped and then his foot landed like just before the
He
bag.
almost Euro stepped it.
Kind of,
Right?
yeah. But Iglesias beats it out. A run comes across, and then Mark Vientos and JD Martinez back-to-back, 2 RBI singles with the bases loaded. At the 5-run fifth, the Mets take an 8-4 lead, and that would be the score until the end of the game. Jose Butto pitched 2 innings, and Ryan Stanek, who I'll talk about a little bit later, looked amazing in the 9th inning to close things out for Game 1. So Game 1, an overall huge success, a huge momentum boost, but they only had 1 extra base hit, which I believe that's right. Everything else was a single. I mean, you look at Iglesias, infield single, Vientos and Martinez, 2 RBI singles. So they won Game 1 without doing a lot of power and kind of just capitalizing on mistakes, and then the pitching did everything you needed to. But on the other side of the coin, Game 2 was everything you didn't want to see. Sean Manaea, he pitched, I would say, a pretty good game. He obviously didn't have his best stuff. He went 5 innings, 6 hits, 2 earned runs, no walks, and 4 strikeouts. Maybe could have squeezed out the 6th inning. He was at 86 pitches after 5, so maybe you could have. But Carlos Mendoza opted not to and brought in Reed Garrett instead. He had a clean inning. Stanek for the 7th, who, again, mowed down the Brewers with ease. He looked really good this series. And then Phil Maton for the 8th inning. Up until this point, Maton had a shaky Monday outing, which I will still say he kind of got screwed with a no-called check swing that ended up hitting the batter, and then a little doink into center field and then Diaz just blew up, and those runs were on him. He gave up the lead. He completely had a meltdown. He did not execute any of his pitches. His cutter looked flat. His curveball hung, and that made up for a 3-run Brewers bottom of the 8th, that would basically seal the game away. Mets lost, I believe it was 5-3. But as for the offense, they started off quick off Frankie Montas. Nimmo had an RBI single in the first, Alvarez an RBI single in the second, and then a Lindor sac fly to cap things off in the 2nd inning. But after that, or for the whole game, they went 2 for 11 with runners in scoring position, leaving 9 men on base.
Not going to win a game that way.
No, not at all, especially in the playoffs. This game was, as much as you can rag on Maton, I don't, my dad will greatly disagree with me, but I don't hate the move. I think Maton is one of your guys. He's been excellent since he's been traded to the Mets, but I put this more so on the offense. I'll call it like 80-20 offense. 2 for 11, leaving 9 men on base. You only scored 3 runs off of Frankie Montas. You also had the Pete Alonso bat slip double play,
Which you called in the moment, like if that ends up costing us the game and you didn't get runs.
right?
because of
It did. Yeah, that you figure that Pete can maybe leg that one out. That's another run across in the 1st inning. Then who knows what else happens? But yeah, you're not going to win games that way. The offense looks dead in the water after that 2nd inning. But yeah, you're not going to win games that way. So I'm not really going to put it all on Maton. And I will say the one thing I didn't necessarily like from this game, and more so from Carlos Mendoza, is I think he tried to be a little too scriptive. Like, stick with the script. All right, you got Manaea for 5, Garrett for 6, Stanek for 7, Maton for 8, Diaz for 9. Like, that's how it's going to go. In the playoffs, you can't do that, right? You can't stick to the script. You got to see how it's going, what's going on. Like, after the inning Stanek had in game 1, I maybe would have brought in Maton for the 7th, Stanek for the 8th, because he just looked completely unhittable. But yeah, that's my one critique of Carlos Mendoza with this whole series, I think. I mean, I completely forgot to mention in game 1 that I'd say he had one of his best managed games as the Mets manager. He completely ran around Pat Murphy of the Brewers, who took out Freddie Peralta pretty early on. And then he stood with his guys, and it ended up working for him. But in game 2, not so much. I mean, again, you can maybe say Manaea could have gone 6, which then pushes Garrett back, and then Stanek, and then Maton, yada, yada, yada. So, yeah, my one critique, I think he was a little too reliant on the so-called script. I don't know if you had any thoughts on Mendoza's managing.
I was thinking that too. Like, that's kind of the Boone in him, or it's just like Boone does that a little too much, where like kind of has an idea like this is what I want to do and doesn't improvise. He's gotten better with it, but that's kind of what I was thinking when you were talking about script. I was like, yeah that sounds like Aaron Boone special.
Yeah, definitely, because it's one of those things where like before the game you're kind of like, all right, we'll get Manaea for 5. We'll bring this guy. We'll bring in this guy. We'll bring in this guy. We'll bring in this guy. Like, yeah, in the moment, obviously you need to plan, and this plan is essentially how you want things to fall. I mean, you want Maton for 8, you want Diaz for 9. That's kind of how, if things fall that way, you're happy. But given the game, I think you just need to be, like you said, you need to improvise a little more and kind of just stay on your feet and just, have some feel for the game, which I think Mendoza does as a whole. But that game, I think he kind of lost it a little bit. But that was game 2, so the series tied going into a do-or-die game 3, win or go home. Jose Quintana gets the start, and obviously everyone's going to remember game 3 from one thing, but Justin, you said it last night. It cannot be understated what Jose Quintana did this game. 6 innings, 4 hits, no runs, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts.
I said when he went out there for the 6th inning, I said, like, if he gets out of this, or not gets out of it, but if he gets through 6 clean innings, it's going to be one of those moves that the Mets win is going to be so underappreciated.
Yeah.
And, like, everyone's going to talk about Pete Alonso waking up, all that. They're going to talk about Budo giving up the back-to-back home runs. But I don't think anyone's going to give credit to Quintana when I think he deserves. I would argue that if Pete Alonso wasn't player of the game, it would have been Quintana.
Absolutely. I mean, look, Quintana, he's a veteran. He's been here before. He's not going to overpower you with stuff, which is really tough for this Brewers team that does not chase. But
he is the lowest. They showed the graphic on ESPN, which god-awful broadcast.
Yeah, the whole broadcast was pretty bad. But,
No, they showed a graphic that he has the lowest in-zone percentage of pitches.
Right.
Meaning that his whole thing is nipping at the corners, trying to make guys chase.
Right, freezing them, which he did a lot. His fastball looked good. He located that really well. His curveball looked good. The changeup was disgusting. Yeah, he made a team that doesn't chase, he made them look foolish at times. So a big, big, big outing from Jose Quintana. Like you said, definitely one of the unsung heroes of this game. I mean, years down the line, we're going to think about Pete Alonso, but Alonso doesn't get that chance if it's not for Jose Quintana, right? And then, like you mentioned, Jose Buto, he comes in right after, gives up the back-to-back home runs, and makes me very upset. I would say
that's an understatement.
I would say this is a very interesting choice. I don't hate the move, but Buto, as much as he's been a reliever for most of the season, he hasn't pitched a lot on 1 day's rest, especially after going 2 innings in game 1. So I'll say that going Buto here was an interesting choice. I'm not going to say I disagree with it, but I don't necessarily agree with it. I said it, I don't know if you heard me, I said it under my breath when they brought him in. I'm like, this is interesting.
I just want to say that I think that I don't want to say I disagree with you,
Okay.
but he is essentially your second or third best guy in that bullpen. Whether you want to say Maton because how good he's been since he came over, you trust those guys. It doesn't matter how little rest he's on. Like, he had a day off. Yeah, granted, he went 2 innings on when was that? Tuesday. Yeah, thank you. My dates are so messed up, but on Tuesday's game, and you just got to go to your guys. Like, I have no issue with the move, and I was thinking in the moment that people are going to blame Mendoza for putting in Budo, but I think that if you blame Mendoza, you just weren't watching the game. If you blamed him for putting in Budo, you weren't watching how up until the 9th inning, hitters not named Francisco Lindor were 0 for 24.
Right.
So if you blamed him for Jose Budo giving up 2 runs, your entire pitching staff giving up 2 runs in one game, and you're blaming the pitching?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that was just something that like irked me because I saw people like, oh, Mendoza, why would you do that? The bullpen was relatively short-staffed. You used a lot of them. You played 5 games in 4 days.
Right.
And that's one of your guys that you have to trust. You have to bank on being the guy.
That's fair.
So
No, that's fair. Yeah, I think, again, didn't hate it, didn't love it, but I think you could see from the start that he wasn't completely on his stuff. The first home run was, I believe, on a hanging changeup we just left over the middle of the plate. And then the second home run was a down and in fastball, which to a lefty, which you just do not throw in that area. So Buto, some poor location. He has some issues with control in the first place, but you're right, Justin. I mean, you know, if Pete Alonso doesn't do what Pete Alonso does, I still think this game definitely falls on the offense. Like you said, Lindor was 2 for 2. Everyone else, zilch. I think they had one other base runner, which was a hit by pitch to Jesse Winker, or a walk, whichever.
I think it was a hit by pitch.
Yeah. So, yeah, 2 runs sucks, but you know, in that moment, it felt insurmountable. That was.
I think you said it felt like 10 runs.
Yeah, like that was almost it for me. I think I gave it to the bottom of the 8th. I mean, the top of the 8th to see the Mets bat, and they just looked dead in the water. I was like, that's it. I was done. I was checked out. I was completely checked out. But Edwin Diaz comes in to clean up Buto's mess, and holy shit. I mean, another 40-pitch outing for Edwin Diaz, an inning and 2/3. And props to him because he kept it where it was. Again, Pete Alonso doesn't get the chance to do what he does if this pitching staff, besides Jose Buto, doesn't keep the game where it's at, right? Even Buto, he only gave up the 2 runs, which, you know, it could have gone away from him even more. But, you know, Mendoza with the quick hook, Diaz, I was interested to see that he brought in Diaz, but, you know, hindsight's 20/20, but I think it made perfect sense. He's your best reliever. You need to keep the score where it was, and Diaz did that. And I think it's now, in the past 5 days, I think in the past, like, 3 outings, whatever, Edwin Diaz has threw 105 pitches in the past 5 days between, call it, 3 appearances. Holy crap.
I would have given him the 9th.
I know, you were saying that too.
I would have given him the 9th. Like, I know it's obviously not the same. I'm not calling him Mariano Rivera, but in the 2003 ALCS, when the Yankees needed a guy, they needed length. Their bullpen was shot. Mariano Rivera went 3 scoreless innings. Edwin Diaz is supposed to be the guy that you trust him to be. He is supposed to be the best closer, if not top 3 closer in baseball. You need him to do that. He should be able to do that. Granted, it ended up working. Taking him out, he put in Peterson.
Yeah, Peterson got the save.
Peterson got the save. It ended up working out, but me personally, I would have gone with Diaz.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal, but
yeah,
I trust my guy there.
Yeah, that's fair. I just think the 40 pitches is...
Because the way I was thinking about it, too, is he pitched 40 pitches on Monday, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's built up
to it.
So you would say 50 pitches,
Yeah.
55 pitches. So.
Yeah, definitely.
And then it's also the playoffs, the adrenaline, all that.
Yeah, why not? But they went with Peterson. But before they got to Peterson, it was the top of the 9th. Devin Williams on to close, one of the best closers in baseball. Let me get his stat line real quick. He missed a lot of the year with
Ribs.
no, it was some of his back, but he finished 2024 with a 1.25 ERA in 21.2 innings. That is 22 appearances.
He had given up 1 home run on the year in the regular season.
Yes, 1 home run, and how many runs is that? He had given up 3 runs the entire regular season. So top of the 9th, Francisco Lindor was already 2 for 2. This entire top of the 9th was amazing top to bottom. I mean, the at-bats some of these guys took, and then obviously the big boy. But Lindor already fell behind. He worked a full count, drew the walk. Mark Vientos struck out. I think he was pressing a little bit. I think Mark Vientos was trying to be the hero. Brandon Nimmo fell behind, same thing, but took a down and away changeup and shot it into right center field. So now you have runners on the corners for Pete Alonso, who just dropped a pop fly. I think it was at the bottom of the 8th.
Bottom of the 7th.
Yeah, who was, I think, 0 for 3 for that point with, strikeout, ground out, all the above. And he finally has his moment. He finally works the count, 3-1, change up down and away, and it absolutely beamed. I mean, that was a line drive and a half over the right field wall for a go-ahead 3-run homer. Pete, thank you. Finally. I'm sure that feels so much better for you than it does for me, but I've been talking to you for like 3 weeks now, and I can finally say something good. I don't care what your regular season was. I don't care that you had, statistically, your worst season. I don't care that you struggled with runners in scoring position all year. You showed up when it mattered, and you had a historic home run for a historic comeback for the team that just had a historic game 4 days before. Pete Alonso puts the Mets ahead of a 3-run home run, which is the first homer in MLB history, or Pete Alonso is the first player in MLB history to hit a go-ahead home run while trailing in the 9th inning or later of a winner-take-all postseason game. That home run was plus 0.65 win probability added. So that added 65% to the Mets' chances of winning. At that point, 0.65, Pete Alonso's homer was the most pivotal postseason non-walk-off hit since Albert Pujols in the 2005 NLCS. Historic. I mean, there's no other way you can cut it. It was a historic hit, a historic comeback. I was speechless. I was jumping. I was screaming. Our neighbors were concerned for our safety. I was concerned for my safety. I mean, this happened 12, 14 hours ago, and I still can't believe it. I'm still in awe. I'm speechless. I'm so happy. Justin, if you wanted to give us your thoughts during that whole, call it 9th inning.
I looked at my roommate Evan, and I said, our roommate Evan, there's one out. I told him, Pete Alonso is about to decide how Mets fans view him going into free agency. He is either about to hit a home run or he's going to ground into a double play to end the game. There's going to be no in between. He hits the home run. And I just wanted to say, too, don't misinterpret this as me calling him lucky or anything like that. He hit it in the perfect spot.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Perfect spot. If that's 5 feet to the left, that's an out.
Yeah.
That ends the game. Or that's an out.
Yeah, I think you see that little, gap or kind of, divot in the right center field wall. It's kind of like...
It's a porch.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Kind of.
Padres. Is that what you're thinking?
I was thinking Padres and kind of like not to the same extent. Excuse me, but the Rangers, you know how that right center field like goes in a lot deeper, but still. Yeah, I mean, that was perfectly placed. Again, it was a line drive. It was not high whatsoever.
And I think you even saw Alonso. I don't think he thought he got it.
No, he knew.
He knew?
Somehow. You look at him in the replay, he knew he got it. I don't know how, but
Damn.
from he hits it and you see him hold the bat and start yelling. Like
I didn't see the replay. I only saw him live. In live, it looked like he kind of just like held the bat, put his head down, like I just
wincing.
missed it.
Yeah, but holy crap! I mean, the biggest hit in his career, one of the biggest hits in Mets history. I mean, I don't think that's a hyperbole. Between Monday and last night, the Mets just had like some of their biggest hits as a franchise and some of their most probably memorable games as a franchise. Like you say, yeah, it's the wild card. Say what you want, but it's the postseason. All these hits matter. People are going to be talking about this hit for a long time, you know? Not to the same extent, but you look at 2006, the Mets and Andy Chavez having that insane home run robbery that everyone talks about, but, you know, no one gets to remember fondly because of how that game ended. But Alonso just had his Mets moment. I mean, yeah, he had 53 home runs as a rookie. He had a couple walk-offs. You know, he had a solo shot in the 2022 wild card, but those are nothing compared to what he just did last night. And like you mentioned, I think it changes the entire outlook of how Mets fans view him, of how maybe the Mets view him, on how his free agency is going to go. I mean, we'll see how he responds to this, but you got to hope this is the start of something, right?
Yeah.
You got to hope this is what gets Pete Alonso going. And if he gets on a heater, watch out, because we haven't seen it all year. But like Justin mentioned before, well, before I get to that, I completely forgot. After Pete Alonso, Jesse Winker, I think he got hit by another pitch, or at least a walk, got on base, stole second base with ease. Gary Sanchez, thank you. And then comes around on a Starling Marte RBI single and takes off his helmet, chucks it into the ground, and it shatters to pieces.
It wasn't hit by a pitch, by the way.
It was hit by a pitch. So he got hit by 2 pitches that game. Wild. But Jesse Winker, I don't understand you. I don't think I'm ever going to understand you, but I love your energy.
And this is coming from the Jesse Winker fan club, too.
I love it. I love it. I don't know what's with him and slamming helmets. And he did it at home plate. I think that's kind of wild.
You can't, he looks like Walton Goggins. Like, you can't tell me he doesn't look like a younger Walton Goggins. It's the forehead, the way the hair is. If you don't know who that is, literally look him up. It's yes.
Yeah.
You can't tell me that's not his dad.
Yeah. But so that made it a 4-run 9th inning for the Mets. And like we mentioned before, Devin Williams gave up 3 runs the entire regular season. He gave up 1 home run in the entire regular season. Pete Alonso just matched his entire stat line with 1 hit. And then Jesse Winker and Starling Marte added to it.
I completely forgot about the Winker. Like, just stolen base. And then I thought the stolen base was earlier in the game.
Yeah, no.
I just completely forgot that happened.
I know. Everything was moving at snail's pace at that point, especially for the 9th. Because, I mean, I ran out of my room. I'm like, oh, my God. Like, holy crap, this just happened. And then it finally sank in. I'm like, oh, my God, who the hell is going to pitch the bottom of the 9th?
Your flat feet were making earthquakes.
Like little smacks, like people clapping. But they turned to David Peterson, who had a very short outing, 7 pitches. So I'll talk about that in a minute. But first career save for David Peterson. He allows a
base
leadoff
hit first
single.
Pitch, right?
I think it was first pitch. Yeah, base hit, first pitch, strikes out the next guy, and then gets the ground ball. Lindor says, "Fuck you too, Acuna. I want this." He runs over. He gets a double play himself, and that ends the game. And it was Bryce Terang to make the final out, who is the most annoying, pesky motherfucking player I have ever watched. I'm so glad I do not need to see Bryce fucking Terang until next year. But the Mets close it out. David Peterson gets his first career save in the postseason. What a fucking game. What a game. I got nothing else to say for that. Again, speechless. The offense looked completely overmatched. They looked dead in the water. They were taking some pretty poor at-bats. I think they look like they were pressing. I don't think that's really that far-fetched. But this team, man, when you think they're out, they always... I said it last week, and I still gave up. This team finds a way to win when they have no business getting a chance to win.
Yeah.
The resiliency, from the players and everything, it's insane. So kudos to them. Wow. But some couple notes before we get into an NLDS preview. Ryan Stanek, I mentioned, he looked really good out of the bullpen. I am cautiously optimistic on what Ryan Stanek can bring in the postseason. But his fastball had life. I think the splitter. His splitter looked good. He looked really good out of the bullpen. And just one quick Milwaukee Brewer stat line. Rhys Hoskins, with his team season on the line, 0 for 9 with 3 strikeouts. Fuck you, Rhys. Starling Marte looked fantastic. He went 3 for 9, 2 walks, 2 RBIs, a stolen base. Of the balls hit into play, he had 4 hard hits. He looked good. That's another could be huge for the Mets. He looked really good. Yeah, I mean, this was a team win, a team series win. From the starters who did their job, from the bullpen for the most part, from the offense for the most part. And now you get to meet with a division rival in the NLDS, which starts tomorrow. So you get one day, you finally get a day off, but, then it's go time. So let's get to that. NLDS starting tomorrow. You play 2 games on Saturday, Sunday. You're off Monday, 2 games Tuesday, Wednesday, off Thursday, and then I believe a game 5, if necessary, on Friday. We talked about it on the radio this past week. The Phillies are an excellent team. They have one of the best 1-2 punches in baseball between Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola.
Especially in the postseason.
Zach Wheeler is a monster. They just barely beat him. What's that, 2 weeks ago? 3 weeks ago, almost? I think, yeah.
The baseball season is not real.
Yeah, like 2 weeks ago. So, game 1, Zach Wheeler's getting the ball. For the Mets, I don't think they're entirely sure what they're going to do yet, but it sounds like Tyler McGill is more likely than not going to get the ball. I only say that because Peterson only threw 7 pitches. So I'm not sure how that goes into the decision-making. But if he's not ready for Saturday, maybe he's ready for Sunday? I don't think that's completely out of the question.
I mean, I don't see how he wouldn't be ready for tomorrow.
Right.
You know what I mean?
7
pitches. Like,
I mean, I know it's different because of, the
intensity,
intensity, getting ready in the bullpen, stuff like that. But if he's not ready Saturday or Sunday, maybe he could piggyback McGill if he gets into trouble. I don't know. So that's the only thing I'm looking at. So with that being said, Saturday, not sure what the pitching alignment's going to be. Sunday, I'm sure you're going to see Aaron Nola in Game 2. I believe Luis Severino would be on regular rest for Sunday because he started on Tuesday. Yeah, so 5 would be 5 days rest or 4 days rest. The 5th day would be on Sunday. And then you have an off day Monday and off day Thursday. So the Mets could get a little creative here because Minaya will definitely be ready. Quintana, I think, could be ready. Yeah, Quintana would be ready for game 4 if necessary. So the Mets could get pretty creative. I mean, they have a lot of good choices. I mean, Jose Quintana, I think, earned himself another start if it comes to that, right? You know, definitely. He looked good. He had some success against the Phillies in the regular season. So, I think this is going to be a really fun series. You took 3 out of 4 from the Phillies just 2 weeks ago without your best player. Now you have him back. Now you hope everything's firing on all cylinders. Now you maybe have a contributing Pete Alonso. So with that being said, why not the Mets? They, day in, day out, they show the world the resiliency, what this team is made of. I think the Mets win this series in 5 games. Because why not?
I think it goes 5, but I lean a little bit more towards Phillies.
I know.
Just because of
know.
the pitching and
I
the
know.
experience in that lineup.
Yeah.
That
definitely.
lineup,
They've been there.
I would make a strong argument that this is the most experienced team in the postseason when it comes to postseason. Just when you look up and down that lineup and how many big hits that you literally could think of 5+ big hits for like that in the postseason for like 4 of their guys.
Yeah.
You could think Trey Turner. You could think of Bryce Harper, who's one of the most clutch players in baseball and should just be a Yankee, but Brian Cashman fucked that up so bad. You look at Kyle Schwarber, who, like I said on the radio, has been doing it since he was a catcher, and how many people even remember he was a catcher?
Right.
You have what's his face? You have Nick Castellanos, who we may be going to World War III, so he's gonna be insane.
Yeah.
Like, unfortunately, a lot of greats in the sports world just passed away. So Nick Castellanos is going to get supercharged with that, and he's going to go on a run.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's just the experience for me. It's like, and that's not counting the Mets out. It's just if you had to make a bet, you go with experience. But that being said, I still think it goes 5, and I still think it's close.
Yeah, absolutely. I do think it's going to be close, but Mets fans, I'm going to leave you with one more note. You got to believe, because this team gives you every reason to believe. If this is where it ends, so be it. What a hell of a season, but why not the Mets? Why not them? Why not us? You will see postseason baseball in Queens for the first time in nearly a decade. So why not Mets?
I think you're incorrect on that.
2015.
Didn't they also play in 2022?
Oh, well, NLDS.
Okay,
Excuse
fair.
me. Yes, but you got to believe. Keep believing, keep watching, keep rooting for them, because this Mets team has the makings of a special run. Believe in the magic, believe in the team. But that's all I got, Justin, if you had anything else.
The Mets right now are in an internal struggle of being the team of destiny and being the New York Mets.
Amen.
On that note, Bronx.
That one is drilled deep to right field. There it goes. See ya.
That ball is high. It is far. It is gone.
This is 161st Street, Yankee Stadium. Transfer is available to the B and D trains.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back into the Bronx. And I just want to say the Yankees got possibly the worst news that they could possibly get. Bob Costas will be on the call. The reason I just checked the Bluetooth in the middle of the break is I'm going to play. This is game 1 of the ALDS. Cleveland is up 1-0 in the Bronx. This is a home run by Harrison Bader. I just want you to listen to the call.
Who?
So one team since then has changed its name. The other team has twice changed its location, and Bader may change the scoreboard. This is into the seats. Harrison Bader. The 2-1 pitch to Bader.
It's just so uninspiring.
They're going to change the scoreboard into the seats, and Harrison Bader is tied the game.
It's just so boring. And it's just...
He is an excellent documentarist.
Yeah, he's just washed. He's cooked. He's fried chicken.
He's fried chicken.
He's that Costco rotisserie chicken that you get it and you literally just grab it and it just pulls apart. It just falls apart. But
hey, that chicken comes up clutch.
no,
That's good chicken. You can count on that chicken when you need it.
no.
When you don't know what to have for dinner, Costco rotisserie chicken is there for you.
Costas, I meant Costco. No, but just I love the memes where it's
Costas
like
rotisserie chicken.
I love the memes where it's just like, this is one of the worst days in American history. Many souls have perished. Da 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 da. And then the other guy's like, Bob, a guy just struck out. It's like he's so over dramatic. He's so boring. It's just, may have to go to the Spanish broadcast for this one or listen to good old John and Susan on the radio.
Some good old John.
No, but the Yankees are playing the Kansas City Royals in the ALDS. I saw something funny on Twitter that someone said I thought Yankees versus Royals was settled in 1776.
They're coming again.
They're coming again.
The Royals are coming.
Revolutionary War to the Electric Boogaloo. But, of course, before anything, your injury report brought to you by the Triboro MD. Anthony Rizzo still remains a long shot for the ALDS, which going to hurt a little bit more than we may realize. I'll kind of get into that in a second. And that's really about it. Jay Cousins, he seems like he'll be ready to go. Everything that they've never said outright that he will be, but everything they've said is they see him as a guy that they're going to use in high leverage. So, but just getting right into the matchup, game 1 is going to be Garrett Cole versus Micah Wacha. Garrett Cole in his career against the Royals is a 2.77 ERA and 8 starts, and that's 52 innings, which is about 6.5 innings per start. But in those 52 innings, he has 65 strikeouts. So this is a lineup that doesn't really strike out, and he makes them strike out. I'm not worried whatsoever about Cole going into this. He's Garrett Cole. He's going to do his thing. But Micah Wacha, right? Yeah, I didn't. Michael Wacha. I was just like, that like came out wrong, and I'm like, did I say that right? He has a 2.97 ERA in 52 innings against the Yankees. Granted, his last start was May 27th, 2023.
Okay.
So it's been a while, completely different lineup.
Yeah.
But he also doesn't have good postseason numbers. He has a 5.21 ERA in the postseason. So you got to win this game 1. Like that, I don't think that there's no such thing as a must win for game 1, but
it sets the tone, especially if you're ace on the bump.
Cole versus Wacha, just you got to win.
Right, you're facing their 3-starter, really. So a non-must win, must win.
You got to win. You just have to win that game. That's just straight
a have
up.
to win, not a must win.
Yeah. And then game 2 is Carlos Rodon versus Cole Ragans, who is this Ragans trade almost going to be like the Glaber-Chapman trade?
Yeah.
So for those that didn't know, last year the Rangers traded away Cole Ragans for Aroldis Chapman. The Rangers obviously went on to win the World Series. Ironically, he's in both of them. But I feel like that's going to be one of those win-win trades just because Ragans is disgusting. He's disgusting. He has really good numbers against the Yankees. In 2 appearances, he has a 2.57 ERA with it's only 1 start, 7 innings, 9 strikeouts.
Yeah.
So he's disgusting. I'm not looking forward to facing him. Carlos Rodon does not have good numbers versus the Royals. He has a 4.66 ERA in 13 appearances. But that being said, his 2 starts with the Yankees against the Royals, he went 13 innings, 3 runs with 12 strikeouts.
Take that.
So yeah, that matchup makes me a little nervous just because Ragans is disgusting. Ragans, however you want to pronounce it, but Cole. The worst Cole in this matchup. But then you got game 3. It's undecided. If I had to bet, I'm pretty confident that Lugo will start that game for the Royals. And then it's going to be either Heel or Clark. They said they're not going to announce a starter until after game 1 or game 2. We talked on the podcast, right? Not the radio.
Yeah, we talked about it at length last week.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be Heel. You also think it's going to be Heel.
Mm-hmm.
Luis Heel has a start versus the Royals this year. 1 start, 5 innings, 1 earned run. The 1 earned run was a home run and 5 strikeouts. That being said, Clark also does have really good numbers against the Royals. 3.29 ERA in 13 and 2/3 innings and 11 strikeouts, with it being relief, start, kind of just a mix of that.
Jumbled together.
Yeah. But Seth Lugo scares me.
That's a wild sentence.
Seth Lugo scares me.
Just from a Mets perspective, that's a wild sentence.
He has a 2.55 ERA in 14 appearances against the Yankees, 4 of them being starts, 35 and a third innings pitched, 45 strikeouts.
Holy crap.
Yeah, so he went 7 scoreless innings last time, and I honestly was shocked they pulled him. He went 7, and I was like, thank God.
Yeah.
I thought the Royals manager made the dumbest move of all time pulling him when they played him. But yeah, because he's very similar to another former Met, Chris Bassett, in the sense of he throws 8 pitches pretty regularly. So you're just
almost just guessing.
You're guessing.
Yeah.
That's all you're doing. You're guessing. And when you're guessing, you typically try to jump on a guy early. And if you don't get on him early, then you're gonna get behind in the count. He's gonna have really quick innings. He's gonna be able to go length. So that matchup really scares me.
Yeah, just to prove your point, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different pitches, and that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 above 10%.
Yeah.
Used. So that's insane. 4-seam, sinker, curveball, slurve, slider, cutter, changeup, sweeper, split finger.
That's just
insane. You're guessing because you literally don't know what's coming. And I also think his windup is one of the longest wind-ups I've seen, and is annoying to use in MLB The Show. And B, I think it gets hitters anxious. He's very
kind of lulls you to sleep.
He's very methodical, and then all of a sudden, here comes this curveball, which is going to start at the top of the zone and then hit the dirt.
Yeah.
So he's definitely going to be a tough matchup.
Yeah, he is
scary.
Yeah,
I don't think he's pitched in the postseason. I mean, obviously he wouldn't have started.
Wouldn't he have been with the Padres? Or the Padres? Was that last year? He was with the Padres.
I am going to look for.
Because Padres missed last year, right?
Yeah. He only. Yeah. Padres missed. Holy crap!
You could do it.
I'm
you
so
got
sorry.
It.
Padres missed the playoffs last year. He had 3 appearances with the Mets in 22, which again was only 3 games, 2 innings, didn't allow a run, and then his 1 start this year in the postseason, 4.1 innings and whatever runs that is. How many runs is that? 1 run.
Yeah, because the Orioles just couldn't hit.
Yeah. 4.1 innings. That's interesting.
I think he had a lot of traffic. How many base runners?
Let's see.
Does it say?
5 hits, 1 walk, 1 hit by pitch. So
7 base runners.
7 base runners in a little more than 4 innings.
It's a lot of traffic.
Yeah.
I'd say it's almost 2 an inning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully he's not a good postseason pitcher. That game is going to be in Kauffman Stadium, which sucks. I hate that stadium. It's beautiful, but it's annoying.
Goddamn fountain.
goddamn fountain. I don't like water. That's cap. But that's all we know so far for the matchups. I'm very confident in this. I'm thinking it's a gentleman's sweep.
Really?
I think it's a 3-1 series.
That's fair.
And just you look at the Royals and you look at how they've played so far. They scored 3 runs in Baltimore.
Yeah, I mean,
And-
the Royals couldn't hit the broadside of a boat. I don't know what the hell's going on with them. They look completely lost in that series. The one run they scored was a solo shot by Cedric Mullins, of all people. No disrespect to him, but he's not.
He's
Gunnar
not Rushman. He's not
Henderson,
Henderson.
Santander. Yeah, exactly. So
I'm not that worried. I think it's a young team.
you seem very confident, like just from looking in your eyes.
It's a young team that I think had they gone up against anyone else, I think they're not moving on. I think you put them up against anyone else, even in the NL, except maybe the Braves, I think they don't move on.
Yeah.
And that's only because the Braves were just so fatigued by everything.
Yeah. I mean, the travel just completely screwed
Yeah.
them.
But I'm not really that worried about the Royals. They have not played well recently. They look like a absolute lock for the 5 seed. They barely got in.
Yeah, I mean they had 2 separate 7-game losing streaks
in September, right?
In September, I'm pretty sure.
So it's
and they are a significantly worse team on the road than at home.
And you also have home field advantage, and pretty sure the Yankees won a series in Kansas City this year. Yes, because they won 3 out of 4. They would have swept, but Clay Holmes melted down.
Yes, I remember
So
that.
I'm not that worried. Honestly, I think that the Yankees team as currently constructed, you're not. I completely forgot to mention this. The reason why I said Anthony Rizzo may be a bigger loss than people realize. You look at his career versus Michael Wacha. I don't have it in front of me, but I believe it was 22 for 56. He was hitting about 400 with 3 home runs. I could try and find that right now. Yeah. God. I love my memory. 22 for 56, 393 batting average with 3 home runs.
Crazy.
I was going to say 393, but I didn't know if it was that. So
yeah. The next closest OPS on this roster to, Rizzo's extent is Soto with an 800 OPS in 5 at-bats.
Okay.
So Judge has had
1 for
issues.
18, 11 strikeouts.
Yeah.
Glaber 1 for 16, Giancarlo Stanton 4 for 17 with 1 home run. So that's not bad for Stanton.
Yeah, but a lot of these other guys don't have that much of a sample size. Even Soto, like 5 at-bats.
Yeah.
It's
also just you could even say with Rizzo that was more so when Wacha was on the Cardinals.
Right.
So say what you want about that, but
Right. But yeah, I mean, look, this is definitely a matchup that I would say favors the Yankees.
I don't even think it's particularly close.
This AL as a whole, I don't mean to steal your thunder if you were going there, but this AL as a whole is pretty open, I'd say. The Tigers are scary. They're riding hot, obviously. They're a young, hungry team, but I think the Yankees kind of need to take care of business this year.
This is the most open the AL has been in I don't even know how long. You look at the Royals, because there's either 2 options that are going to come out of this.
Mm-hmm.
The White Sox are actually a decent team that just got completely unlucky and got placed in the best division of all time in baseball history, or all 3 of those teams just feasted off by far the worst team in baseball history.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have it in front of me, but I remember seeing that the Twins they lost 1 game to the White Sox all year. You take the games against the White Sox out of their record, I think they're a sub-500 team. I'm pretty sure. It was something crazy like that.
Yeah, the White Sox were 10-42 against the AL Central.
Right, so that's 42 essential free wins for that division.
That's like almost 800 winning percentage.
Right, that's insane.
I want to see if I have the Yankees, because I've seen it floating around, the Yankees like winning percentage versus the AL Central.
Yeah.
And they have I think they have an 800 winning percentage this year. Let me, Yankees versus AL Central 2024. Yankees versus the AL Central. Yeah, the Yankees are 24-7 against the AL Central this year. They're
24-7. Wow.
and keep in mind they only went 2-1 against the White Sox.
Right.
So 22-6 against non-White Sox. Well,
Against
I don't know how they did at
in
home.
history.
I don't know how they did at home against the White Sox, but I know they only went 2-1 on the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, they went, what is that? 3 and then 2. They went 5-2 against the Royals. I think they went 4-2 against Cleveland. And then they probably swept the Twins because the Twins. But yeah, I'm not all too worried. There's 3 guys that I'm worried about on the Royals. Maybe you could call it 4 with Reagans, Lugo, Salvador Perez, and Bobby Witt. Just because Bobby Witt, correct me if I'm wrong, but he's responsible for all 3 RBIs the Royals have.
No, I know Pasquantino had one.
I know he's responsible for 2. No, it's both go-ahead hits he's responsible for, I believe.
Yeah, because the first game was a 1-0 win.
Yeah.
When Corbin Burns pitched into the 9th inning. Which is just insane.
Yeah.
The Orioles are really, they're going to have to take a long look at the mirror in the offseason.
And they're just going to get worse because you have Burns and Santander leaving.
Right.
So I'm chilling.
Yeah.
I'm like not really that worried. Like you just gotta take care of business. This lineup, when you have so many guys that could just take over a game in this lineup, like I think 1 through 6 is the best 1 through 6 in baseball. With the teams that are currently still in the playoffs, I don't see how teams have better 1 through 6. With Glaber, Soto, Judge, Wells, Stan, Jazz.
Mets.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I feel like when they're on, you got Lindor, Vientos, Nimmo, Alonso.
Yeah, the 2 best hitters in the American League.
That's great. Good for you.
You have...
I know.
I was going to say, I just come...
For argument's sake.
Maybe
but-
the Phillies?
Yeah, Schwarber, Turner, Harper, Bohm, Castellanos. Yeah.
But I don't know. I would still...
Oh, no, absolutely. I mean, Soto Judge just raises it like to a league of its own.
You literally have the 2 best hitters in the American League, most likely 1 and 3 in the MVP voting.
You just need like solid play from the guys around him. Like that's it. You don't need.
You just need guys to get on base. That's all you need.
You don't need all-star levels. You don't need MVP level stuff. You just get on base, create some traffic for the big boys. That includes Stan.
Yeah,
that absolutely includes Stan.
Definitely. I think that the biggest, if I had to rank the most importance for just contributions, I would definitely make it Judge, Soto, Stanton, Jazz, Glaber, Wells, Dominguez, or Verdugo. Or if it's Verdugo, he's last.
Yeah.
Who am I forgetting? I know Volpe, but I'm forgetting someone else. Who am I forgetting?
I don't.
First base.
Oh yeah, whoever the hell plays first base.
Oswaldo. I'd put Oswaldo over Dominguez.
Yeah.
I just think that Oswaldo has that gene in him.
Yeah, I know.
He's got that dog in him. Oswaldo, Dominguez, Volpe. That's kind of like the order I think of importance, and it's also going to be very similar to the batting order, with the exception of Glaber being at leadoff.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried. I'll be honest. Like, I know that like pride comes before the fall, all that, but guess what? I'm not playing this series, so I could be as prideful. I could be as prideful as I want to be. But that's all I have.
Fair enough. No, like we mentioned, the AL is wide open. You know, I think if the Yankees can take care of the Royal starters and get to the bullpen, they can beat around that bullpen. That bullpen's not fantastic. You know, they don't have a bunch of guys that can shut you down. So if they can get the starters out after 4, after 5, you're sitting pretty. So,
yeah.
No, I have a lot of confidence in the Yankees to get past this round. And, I mean, follow us on Triboro Sports Show that all 3 of us, you, me, and Mark, all have the Yankees making the World Series. So some more optimistic than others. But we'll see. We will see. So, is that all you got, Justin?
Oh, yeah, that's all I got.
As Justin is getting redder by the second in angst. So,
Dry heaving.
with that being said, what a week. The Mets are still in it. The Yankees obviously going to start their postseason run soon. As in a wise man once said, content.
That wise man is me.
That wise
Content.
man
We
is
have
Justin.
a guaranteed one more week of content.
We have a guaranteed one more episode of both teams in playoff baseball. So, with that being said, thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. Wow. Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Spotify so you never miss an episode. Be sure to check out the Triboro Sports Show. Links are in the description. Every Wednesday from 6 to 8 p.m., we talk all things New York sports with our good friend Mark. Mets fans, you got to believe in this team, believe in all that. Yankees fans, prepare for a World Series run. So with that being said, thank you guys again. We'll see you in the next episode.
Yankees and Mets. Give us content.